Hey guys, and welcome to Oni's UI video. This is just a little guide to give you an idea of what I use for my UI. Maybe give you some ideas for yours. See if I can give you guys a hand with any new information or information on the guides on the different components of the UI itself. This is my loading screen, obviously, so you will be able, you can see all my tunes. And the reason we're here is to actually show you my add-ons list. And here's the add-ons list for my tank. Atlas loot, fairly self-explanatory, just gives you a loot breakdown of all of the loot that can be found in World of Warcraft, where it drops, off of who. Gives you a nice little marker on your minimap that you can click in so you can go after specific pieces and gear the way you feel you should be. I'm going to skip over a bunch of these because they don't actually help the user interface. They're just things that help me, auctionators that help me thing. Auto repair just repairs my stuff automatically for me anytime I go to a vendor. Bag Brother, Bagnon is my all-in-one inventory, so I see one screen instead of 5 or 6 for different bags. Bartender 4. This is an add-on that I use for my UI. It allows for movement of the bars, sizing of the bars, different configurations for the bars, and allows you to hotkey your bars easier than having to use the WoW interface itself. Bigwigs is my boss mods add-on. I prefer it over Deadly Boss mods. I think it's cleaner. It gives you more information. Sorry, still getting a little over a cold, so if you hear some sniffles, I apologize. Little Wigs does the same thing as Bigwigs. I know I skipped over a bunch here. I will get to them. Little Wigs is just for 5-man content, dungeons, and scenarios. Grid is my UI mod for the actual raid frames. This is how I use it to tell who's got threat, who's dying, all kinds of stuff. Who's got shields on them. It just lets me track a bunch of stuff. I'll go ahead and explain class timers here. As you can see, it is for buffs, dots, CCs, effects, and etc. This will usually pop up right about here on my screen, give or take, and it's the things I applied to the boss. CLC Ret is my add-on for my retribution rotation. Makes that nice and smooth. I do have decursive. I can decurse stuff. It just makes it much simpler by adding little boxes that I have positioned over here on my UI, which I'll show you, that you could just click on and everything is easy. You don't have to go through the trouble of targeting and then casting. It just does everything for you right there. KG panels. You'll see 3 black panels on my UI. Those are the KG panels. They're just to make everything pop out a little better. It's just a personal thing. Mask is to make everything prettier, the borders, stuff like that. I do have mixed scrolling battle text. I don't have it clicked. I don't use it while I'm tanking. I don't need all that extra stuff. Moggets for transmogging. Movable holy power actually allows me to move my holy power tracker, so I can put it where I feel like, so I can see how much holy power I have and just keep better track of that. As it is a secondary resource, it's something I need to know. Speaking of need to know, it is an add-on. I use it to track buffs on my character. It is essential for running my character the way I do, and I'll show that to you when we actually get into game. I do run Omen. It's just a threat meter. It just tells me where I stand in the threat. OmniCC is a cooldown count for everything, as it explains there. It will come up right over here on my screen, give or take, and actually show me my personal cooldowns. What's on cooldown, what's about to come off, helps me like that. Pitbull is my unit frames add-on, which I'll be happy to show you. It just condenses the information. I don't need all that much information about my target or myself. I just need to know where my health is and what's being cast. And as you can tell, it's quite large. Postal and Pratt. Postal's used for my mailbox, so I can just click on it and get all my stuff. Pratt's for my chat. Just enhances the chat, lets me go through stuff a little easier. Pull countdown does what it says it does, just gives me that countdown that everybody sees and loves. Quartz I use not because I'm a caster, but because I like to know exactly where the cast is, and it lets me move it. I know there's one on Pitbull, but it's not that large, and I can't put it in my line of sight, so this really helps for when I need to actually prevent casts, interrupt, things like that, coming from the bosses. Reforged Light is what I use to get my Reforged numbers right. Sell Junk just gets rid of the gray items when I go to a vendor. Simple Minimap just lets me move the minimap and resize it. SCADA is my damage meter. Also tracks avoidance and mitigation, crowd control, damage taken, healing and absorbs, all that fun stuff that tells me right where I'm at and where you guys are at. Skull Me is there to put skulls on my targets, so you guys can focus fire and down the important ones. Tell Me When I use for my rotation on my spell cooldowns, so I know when certain cooldowns are off cooldown and I can utilize it again. Tidy Plates. Tidy Plates is probably one of my favorite add-ons. It allows me to see the nameplates in a different way. It makes them bigger. I can configure that size however I feel like. Tells me what debuffs I have placed on the targets, what targets I have threat on, and what targets I don't. I think it's useful for everybody, at least if nothing else for the threat. I also added threat plates to it for when I'm not tanking. Threat plates comes in handy. Just makes a large icon around it telling you have threat. Otherwise I just use the standard tidy plates, damage and tanking setups that they have. Vengeance tracks my vengeance, lets me know where my vengeance is at, if I need to get more, if I'm maintaining really well, just lets me know where that's at so I can produce high level DPS as far as tanks go, so I can produce high level threat so you guys don't pull off of me. Track cooldowns is something I use as a raid lead. Lets me track the raid's cooldowns, who's used what, how long we have until something's done being used. That lets me take care of that. So that is once again my add-on list, and I'll scroll up nice and easy for you so you can see them all again. Please feel free to pause this video at any time so you can see the full list and you can see what it's called so you can pick it up if you so choose. We'll get through the Pitbull stuff, and that Pitbull is just one download, by the way. It's not all those downloads. And there you go. So let's actually get in the game and show you what it looks like. Hopefully this thing will load up kind of fast for me. Sometimes it likes to take its sweet time. I'm sure you've all been there. Looks like a sweet time day for me. I like watching paint dry loading into this game sometimes. There we go, now we're getting into it. Alright, welcome to my UI. We're going to go over a couple things real quick just to tell you what's what, where's it at. First we're going to get rid of this because you wouldn't see that, I won't see that in my raid. Start up here, this is the simple minimap. As you can see, it allowed me to move it, resize it, and reshape it. I think it's kind of cool. It's out of my way, it doesn't hurt me, and if I really need to look at it, I can see it pretty well. As you can see, this is up, I've moved this up here. This toolbar for my character info and all of this, that's a function of bartender, which we'll get into in a second. This is my grid. This will expand to the same size as this black box underneath it in a 25-man, or will simply come out to here if I'm in a 10-man. Just lets me track everybody, see things nice and neat, but it's still out of the way and not in my way. Moving down, this is Pratt. This is how Pratt looks. I think it's just cleaner, lets me see stuff. Behind it is KG panels. That's the black panel. You can set that color up any way you'd like. I just prefer the black one because it makes everything pop better. Moving over, this is movable holy power. This is for the resource. I'm sure there's something similar for your classes. If there's not, Pitbull itself does have a second resource tracker. It'll appear right up here. I just like this, it looks cleaner to me. Pitbull, right underneath it, it's right here. As you can see, nice and easy. Just tells me my health, my rep. Underneath here is a casting bar. My buffs will be here, debuffs will be here. If I click on myself and make myself a target, my target will appear right here. And if I so choose to focus on my target, I could set focus just as normal. And my focus will be here, and my focus's target is over here. I know that's off center. I will eventually correct it one of these days, maybe. It's really simple to use. You could track all the debuffs, all the dots, everything. It's pretty nice. It's just a personal preference. Obviously, use your own. We'll go ahead and clear focus and get off of this. This is the Vengeance Tracker. I want this bar to... The bar itself will be colored red. Only appears when I take damage. I'm not going to go into a run to show you it, but I'm pretty sure you can get the idea. This bar fills, and this gives me a numerical value. I want to try and keep it up here at all times when I'm tanking for maximum DPS and threat generation. Right up here is my Tell Me When. All of these spells have a different cooldown, and I need to track them for optimum holy power production and DPS rotation. Right down here, you'll see my bartender, nice and set up. There's Grazie Katonis, good job. You can see how I've resized it. If I click on bartender, which is just this beer mug here, you can see each one of these is little boxes that you can configure and shape and size real easily by simply going into it, clicking on the bar. Lets you reshape how many rows so you can see in different ways. How many buttons, so you don't need all those buttons if you don't need them. I do. Padding, which just separates them so you can put them tighter together or spread them farther apart. However you like, however it helps you. But Bartender does all of these things for you. It also gets rid of that Blizzard art bar, that horrible thing. You can just click on that and get rid of it. You can track all your bars that'll pop up. Extra action bar, this little naughty thing here that you use when effects come up at different times. You can position that anywhere so it's clear you can use it and it's not in your way. Really simple. You just click on it, move it anywhere you like. Not a big deal. I like mine right dead center there, where I can easily access it. This program also allows you to lock the buttons and enter your key bindings on the different things, so you don't have to use the Blizzard key binding setup to do so for the different key binds you want to set up. But that's Bartender, nice and easy. Close that out, lock everything in place. This is SCADA. I have two different frames set up. This is the actual SCADA totals from last night in our 10-man raid. Good job to everybody. It is a lot more of a fight than you'd think, but I digress. Right here, this little square here is my decursive. This will expand and fill up this entire area in a 25 or 40 man. It also works for pets, but I'm not worried about it. The larger ones here, this can be moved anywhere. It'll give you an option if you hover right above the primary one, and it'll tell you exactly what to do to move them. This is track cooldowns. If I were to go into my interface and go to track cooldowns, it'll appear like this, and actually this is just the test one, but you can see all the different cooldowns I can see from the raid, so I know who's using what when, if they're using them at appropriate times, if they're not using them at all. I can see it. I don't recommend this for everybody. It's a lot of information, but as a tank, I do have times where I can take a quick glance over here and see the status of the raid's cooldowns, which is kind of handy as the raid leader. I kind of like it. here's just to show you Bagnon. Here you go. Had a little brain fart for a second there. Sorry, guys. It's an all-in-one inventory. Nice and easy. Same thing goes for your bank, your void storage, all of it. I know it's a horrible mess, and I haven't clicked on this, which I'll do now so I don't bother people. There you go. And that's basically it. There's only one other thing to cover, and that's the need to know add-on. So I will show you that. The only way to do that's in actual combat. So I'm going to go over this training dummy, do a couple of rotations, and kind of show you what it does for me. I use it to track certain buffs that I need to keep track of in order to increase my survivability. So we'll give you a quick show of that and wrap it up right there. So let's give it a go. As you can see, my cooldown for Avenging Wrath is procced. I have that set in macro. And we're just moving. Now you can see it. Shield of the Righteousness is up, guarding me from physical damage. Bastion of Glory is a proc that comes from that, and is a stacking buff that I'm trying to get because it increases the amount I self-heal. Once we get that to 5, we'll be able to really do some good things with it and start healing myself rather well. As you can see, there's no self-healing going right now. I'm just using the Shield of the Righteous here to mitigate my damage. Now that we're at 5 stacks, we're going to get to 3 Holy Power, just like that, and cast our self-heal. As you can see, it's ticking for 19.5k. That's just a hot that I put on myself as a tank. This is why I heal so much. This is my mitigation form. This is what I use my need to know for, so I can synergize my rotation, what's going on, and I can see everything right here, nice and neat, right below my character. And I know everything that's going on with myself right here without having to focus down here for anything, really. But that's my UI, nice, clean, and simple. You can talk to me in game. Please refer to this as often as you'd like. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if you thought it was silly. Give me feedback, guys. This is my first video before I start going live on YouTube, doing guides and different things for us. This is Oni. I'll talk to you later.